introduction. Okay, so everybody, now we are about to go into a very, very special discussion. It is a keynote on the topic of navigating the augmented horizon, building valuable connections with audiences across extended reality platforms. Now everyone get ready to explore how we can connect with audiences in new and exciting ways using extended reality technology. Together, I want you all to give a massive warm welcome to Jan Ożarowski, the creative strategist and partner at LensDat. Put your hands together, everyone, in a massive round of applause. Now, Mr. Jan Ożarowski is a creative strategist, and he has an engaging conversation for us, and he's about to open our eyes, right, to a lot of possibilities. So enjoy this panel, everybody.
Thanks so much. My name is Jan Ożarowski. I come from a company called LensDat. What we do at LensDat is we create extended reality experiences. Now it may sound pretty gimmicky, but I hope what I have to tell you here today is going to be interesting and is going to eventually translate into your marketing campaigns being more meaningful, impactful, engaging, and maybe a little bit fun. So this is the topic of my presentation here. We at LensDat, we already did over 600 projects on over 60 markets. We have over 6 years of experience in designing extended reality experiences. We're a team of over 30 people. We do everything in-house. We've worked with clients all across industries, verticals, and all across markets. And this is not to flex and boast. This is to show you that every industry, every brand, every company can find its own space in the extended reality ecosystem, which I will show later on. We are also official partners of the biggest names out there as far as extended reality and augmented reality. What is this extended reality that I'm going to talk about here? Well, basically, it's what you consider, what comes to mind first is social augmented reality effects. All those funny little filters that change you into a dog or make you puke a rainbow or something like this. This is augmented reality. But social AR can also be distributed as a web browser experience. So directly from a web browser without the need for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Snapchat, you can just fire an extended reality effect right on your mobile browser. But also, extended reality includes virtual destinations, so closed-off worlds, dreamlike scenarios of spaces, exhibition, events happening in a virtual space. You put your headwear goggles on and enter a completely different space. This is part of extended reality as well. And the sort of a byproduct of designing extended reality experiences is us designing 3D models and 3D animations that can serve as, premium visuals for your marketing campaigns, for your e-commerce stores, and so on. So extended reality are all things that have to do with augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and everything in between. When we work with clients, I think it is pretty important that what we do fits their campaigns and answers their needs precisely and pinpoint and helps deliver actual results. We don't just want to do gimmicky, funny stuff that someone smiles about, but it doesn't translate into any business goals. So we work with the client right from the beginning. Even when they want a simple TikTok filter, we first analyze their needs, their goals, what they want to achieve, what their target audience is. We come up with a strategy of how to use this little funny TikTok filter within their larger strategy. We come up with creative ideas, we do mock-ups, we do prototypes, then we create the whole content for it, we develop it, we program it, and then we help to distribute it. All in mind, everything that we have in mind is to translate into actual results, not just be something funny and impactful campaigns. So why would brands use extended reality in their brand communication? I'm going to show you a lot of hard data now to back up my points here, and then I'm going to move into a more fun part, showing you actual examples and success stories of different brands. Now this is pretty important to show you some hard data, because again, I want to stress this really hard. Extended reality isn't just those funny, gimmicky filters that you see on TikTok or Snapchat. It can be a valuable communication channel for every brand from any industry, really. Well, let's take a look at the extended reality from 3 dimensions. The first dimension is the technological one. There's tons of signals out there when you look at the market that signal that we're on a verge of entering a new communication platform. We've had our computers, we've had our smartphones, now we're moving into something that's going to be called spatial computing, so using extended reality, adding an extra layer to something that's in front of our eyes, to the existing reality. With the emergence of Apple Vision Pro, for example, that add additional layer of information, entertainment into your own reality. So from the technological standpoint, extended reality is not only about gaming and funny filters anymore. It's an actual usable thing that can be used for education, that can be used for healthcare and other services. It's also, the technology is also closer to people. You know, the big word of extended reality, all you need to launch it is your smartphone. This is all you need. So it's really accessible. You know, the speed of developing extended reality solutions is incredible at this point, especially with the emergence of generative AI tools. You know, we can write so much code and deliver so much content at incredible speeds. So launching an extended reality experience some time ago took us 2, 3, 4 months. Now it takes 2, 3 weeks to design the whole thing. So accessibility, agility, utility, this all comes together to show you that extended reality is the next big thing. Right. From another dimension, human dimension, the interest is there. People want something new, always. So at the level of how many searches there are online about extended reality, metaverse, virtual reality, the increase in size of groups in the Facebook ecosystem that are about AR and VR. So the creative community is already behind the extended reality hype. The number of posts that people post in the Meta ecosystem is increasing more and more each week, each month. Also from the human perspective, tons of consumers are already interested in using AR before buying a product. And it's not just about trying on makeup in a filter, not just about trying on digital clothes in a Snapchat filter, but you know, also home appliances, trying on how a furniture fits in your space, use cases like this. Consumers also declare that they want brands to deliver them augmented reality experiences, and brands don't actually deliver them. So for things like interactive maps, people would want to see some cool map with an extra layer of information, not just a flat screen Google map on your screen, on your smartphone screen. People want to learn in new immersive ways. People want to scan some additional product info. They want to see, you know, product instructions, how to operate your new washing machine with augmented reality, not just a, you know, flat paper instruction. So consumers already expect it, brands don't yet deliver it, and hey, why are you not doing it yet, you know? The need is already out there, you don't need to create a need. A couple of flashy numbers to back up my points. You know, on Roblox, the virtual realities space, 60 billion messages are sent each day between users. That's a massive number. In the Meta ecosystem, 1 billion users use AR effects already every month. On Snapchat, it's 200 million, but it's daily. 200 million people daily play with augmented reality. And it is estimated that already today, 100 million consumers worldwide already use augmented reality in one form or another while shopping. And of course, the COVID pandemic speeded things up when it comes to technology. Things that we didn't think would become part of our everyday life are now part of our daily life. I don't need to mention Zoom calls, I hope, but something that we thought was not going to be part of our everyday life, it is now. Drone deliveries and so on and so on. So COVID helped in speeding up things technologically, and actually that whole notion of metaverse, so virtual and augmented spaces, even though it's not yet out there, and I don't think it should be mentioned too much. It shouldn't be too big of a buzzword, the metaverse, but it actually does fulfill on that promise of creating a space for free expression, expressing yourself, the diversity, democratizing access to information, and so on and so on. We used to have chats, we used to have internet forums, we used to have MySpace, we used to have emoticons, now we have emojis, and more often now we have bitmojis or virtual avatars. So everything pushes towards this space where your digital self meets your physical self. And another important dimension, and then we move to more interesting parts, is the business dimension, because I believe, and I think you will agree with me, that the businesses will be definitely a driving force behind pushing that style of communication for brands into the extended reality. Now these are some older data, because now we're in 2024 obviously, but some time ago brands declared that they would spend more money on virtual spaces, on augmented spaces, and so on, and brands did declare that they would want augmented reality in their brand communication. Now from our own little perspective of our own company, we see that the interest is already there, that the companies really are looking forward for new ways to communicate with customers and potential consumers. So I think extended reality delivered on the promise expressed in those numbers. E-commerce brands, they already use augmented reality in their communication. Around 60% of brands do, and super important thing here is that augmented reality does have a power to drive action, to serve different purposes, to serve different functions within campaigns. It's not just about flat, empty engagement with a funny filter on TikTok. You can build awareness, you can build brand equity, you can build brand purpose, you can give a consumer a chance for a trial, even though it's an online digital trial, but it's hyper real. I don't know if you ever tried makeup filters on Snapchat, for example, but it's a hyper real trial experience. And then with one click, it can translate into a conversion because it happens online. So various goals that augmented reality, extended reality can serve in campaigns. Yeah, we'll skip on that. All right, now the interesting part. So what are those extended reality experiences that I talk about? I'm going to walk you through tons of examples that we've produced in our little studio to show you that really brands from all across verticals, all across the world, can already use augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality in their communication. Now the first most obvious use that you probably saw so many times are face filters. We're able to recognize facial features, facial movements, to attach the virtual digital layer to the camera feed that's looking at you. So, it can be used for brand awareness, it can be used for building some brand equity, it can be used for building engagement, to voice some communication that's attached within a campaign. And of course, face filters are great for doing all kinds of makeup try-ons, jewelry try-ons, changing hair colors to see if that hair dye matches your style or not. More examples. Since we can recognize facial features and facial gestures, we can use those as controllers for
for mini games, you know, open your mouth to jump over an obstacle. And it's a game that helps launch, it's a premiere of a new sneaker model for Puma. Or, you know, a funny Christmas game for Coca-Cola. You just turn your head left and right to avoid obstacles and collect gifts. Or, you know, for Easter, you know, a balancing game. You know, you have a virtual egg on a spoon in your mouth, and you have to keep your head straight, not to make it fall. You know, it builds a positive experience with the brand among consumers. More examples. Digital trials that I mentioned. You know, digital trials don't only end at your face, because we can also recognize bodies and where the hands are, where the feet are, and have people try on clothes virtually, some other fashion accessories, shoes, or a whole fashion collection consisting of many elements. You know, starting from hats, jackets, to, like I mentioned, jewelry, t-shirts, and so on. There's also those effects that we call target tracking effects. We sort of teach the smartphone camera to recognize a particular shape, and when the camera recognizes this shape, it activates the whole virtual layer. So, you know, it can be called, you know, digital product, or you can use the physical product and turn it into a whole augmented experience built around it. Or here, this one is a pretty beautiful thing that we did for Bloomingdale's here in Dubai. You know, you just had to scan a postcard that was part of a box after you made shopping with Bloomingdale's, and when you scanned the postcard, it activated the whole animation of a origami Christmas tree. And additionally, you could just put your hand in front of the camera to place a star on top of the tree. You know, it all happens digitally, but in order to access it, you have to first buy product from Bloomingdale's. Otherwise, you don't have access to the experience. You know, so tying it in, something fun with an actual purchase first. This one I'm going to skip because it's too long, but it's an example of target tracking. Okay, plane tracking effects are those that recognize flat surfaces around the user. And when we recognize flat surfaces around the user, using the back camera of the smartphone, not the front camera facing your face, it allows us to place 3D animated scenes into user space. For example, to show some technologies behind Skoda cars, you know, assisted parking, detecting a pedestrian crossing. We've built, you know, 5 or 6 scenes like this, 3-dimensional, and you were able, just using your phone, place it on your table, place it on the pavement, place it wherever, and be immersed in a 3-dimensional scene. Another example of Bloomingdale's here, for Christmas, they worked with a local artist to create really cool sculptures of a camel and an oryx that were placed in a store, and we made those animals into digital forms so everyone could play with them on their phone without visiting the store. And you were able to just anchor them in your space, walk around, and again, just show your hand to feed the animal with a virtual apple. You know, another example of a plane tracking effect, so something that detects the space around you and lets you set anchor some 3D animated scene to it, is a celebration effect for the latest soccer World Cup. You know, just a super immersive, interesting animation that all you needed to do to use it was your smartphone. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, plane tracking effects also let us do things like trying on home appliances and furniture in your own home, you know, just to check, you know, is this the color of the chair that I want to buy? This is the couch I want to buy, how it's going to fit in my space. Plane tracking effects also let us do things like immersive storytelling. So, for example, we used an Instagram effect to show our clients what our workflow is, and you know, how the process of creating a project with us works. You know, we created a little guy that, you know, appeared on your table and did the whole narration of what are the steps of working with us. For a French TV, Arte TV, we did a series of animated episodes of a series about money. It was called Fortune. A couple of people told their stories about how they made their fortunes. We turned them into animated movies. Each mini animated movie was a snapshot lens that you could place in your own space, look around it from all angles, come closer, move further. So instead of just watching it on a flat screen, we turned it into like a whole 3D experience that you could watch from all angles. That's plain tracking effects. Something new that we're launching this year is called on-site AR mirrors. If you go upstairs, we have an exhibition there upstairs with a couple of examples of those. AR mirrors are basically just mirrors with additional layer of information. You stand in front of a mirror to try something on, to play a game, to have a nice experience, immersive experience with the brand. It can be heavily branded or can be more artistic, but with the rise of all things experiential, and how brands want to deliver experiences now. You know, going to a store isn't called shopping anymore. Going to a store is called a shopping experience, because, you know, the brand has to maximize that time spent with a potential consumer. It has to do something eye-catching. It has to do something that stays in a person's mind. So mirrors are one place or one way of doing this. It's just super nice to be able to see you on a huge mirror with a virtual layer of creative. Actually, you should go upstairs and try after this presentation, because it's really nice. But this is augmented reality too. We're not only talking about phones, we're not only talking about headsets that let you enter VR spaces. AR mirrors are something that we place in physical space, so it's really something tangible. Virtual destinations, something that I mentioned, is another example of extended reality experience. So like the whole virtual islands, exhibitions, events that you access by either putting on a headset on your head and entering this space in a super immersive way, but this can be done right from your smartphone screen as well, and it's a pretty cool experience as well. You can showcase your fashion collection in a virtual space. You can let people participate in events online together. You know, it all sounds. We really want to be down to earth, so it all sounds, you know, far-fetched and gimmicky, unless you give it, you know, a lot of thought, and unless you make sure it fits within a wider campaign that you're doing as a brand. It's not just doing a virtual space for the sake of doing a virtual space and making a couple of headlines in the press. It doesn't make sense. It needs to fit in your larger strategy. AR can also be used in existing mobile apps. For a client in our homeland, we did an AR for their. It's a chain of drugstores, so it's a pretty boring, you know, shopping app in which you collect coupons and so on. And they wanted to cater to a bit younger crowd. So we said, hey, let's gamify it. Let's make it possible for every young user to create their own avatar, their own self in the existing app, and then using this personalized version of me, I'm able to play games right in every store, right in every drugstore, using my little avatar running through the shelves and collecting products. And it doesn't require a separate app. We worked within an existing client app. So this is another place of distributing extended reality and making good use of it. And speaking of distribution, something that I mentioned a few times during this presentation, you know, it's not just about developing something and being able to, you know, tap your team on the shoulders and say, hey, good job. You need to make sure that people that are supposed to see it, use it, and it makes and it drives some impact. So, you know, every simple Instagram effect you can link to it through a QR code. You know, place that QR code on your product. So when people buy your product, they scan the QR code, they get taken to a branded game that you have built for them on Instagram. You can use all kinds of dedicated ads, augmented reality ads in the existing social media platforms. On Meta, on Snapchat, on TikTok, they have whole dedicated ads for AR, for distributing AR. As experienced marketers, you probably very much know that without the media spend, nothing's going to happen. So even if we come up with a super nice and interesting AR effect that's funny and that's engaging, if you don't spend money on distributing it, no one's going to find out about it. You know, of course, use brand ambassadors, use influencers. You know, they are the faces that validate your brand. And if you're doing an AR face effect, you know, what better face to use than the face of your brand ambassador and influencer and their huge social media following. You know, but your consumers can be your influencers as well. You know, they will record content with your augmented reality effect. Use that content. You know, give everyone their 5 seconds of fame on your social media profile. They'll be super happy to see their face, and you know, their friends saw the branded content that they placed in their stories. So find multiple ways to distribute content, find multiple ways to make sure that your augmented reality experience gets to the consumers. And most importantly, you know, keep it all visually coherent. It's all about augmented reality, extended reality, virtual reality being a logical puzzle in your whole marketing mix. It cannot be something separate. Even on the visual level, it has to speak the same code as the rest of the campaign. So when someone sees your augmented reality effect, oh, they know it comes from this or that campaign. So keep it visually coherent at all times for it to make sense to your consumers. Showing a couple of creatives from different campaigns and the augmented reality effects that we've built to them to match their style. Okay, 3 minutes to go, a couple of success stories that I have to show you. We've worked with a cultural institution lately. It was an art museum locally in Warsaw, Poland. They did an art exhibition of a painter who would normally be perceived as yet another super boring guy who no one cares about unless you're into art. And so they came to us and they said, hey, make it interesting, make it so people get excited about this art exhibition. So we took 3 styles of this artist portrait styles, we turned them into Instagram effects. Each Instagram effect was a different style of portrait painting of this painter. And hey, guess what? Without any media spend, without any media support, half of the users of Instagram in Poland used this effect. It was a huge success, and the turnout at the exhibition was a record-breaking number. Of course, a local story, not a huge global one, but it shows you that even a cultural institution, not a brand with a huge budget, can use augmented reality in their communication. Another example. Another example. This is that furniture try-on that I mentioned earlier. It was a UK brand. This one is an example of something that actually we didn't do, but a different company. But just by giving the consumer an option to try on virtually a piece of furniture in their own space, they noticed 2.5 times higher conversion rate when someone used the AR, 3 times higher add to cart rate, 40% lift in ad recall. So pretty hard results to back up using augmented reality for a furniture brand. Jaguar, another example giving consumers a way to try on their new product. You know, let's use the plane tracking capability of anchoring an object in your own space to see what that Jaguar is going to look like in my driveway or in my garage, you know, in a hyper-realistic way. And I'm going to change the colors of it too, to see what I want to buy. Ice cream and TikTok, I'm going to skip that. Shoes try-ons, you know, there's tons of hard data to back up that using augmented reality makes sense for brands. Be it a Snapchat effect, being a filter on Instagram, being a virtual space, or a use case for a mobile app. For beauty brands, an obvious choice, I think, to give consumers a trial, so they can try on something digitally to see what fits them best. And it is hyper realistic. It matches your face, you know, super precisely. The colors that are shown are the actual colors that you're going to get with the product. You know, with the makeup, with the hair color change. The technology is super advanced by now. Gucci, that's one I'm gonna skip, but it shows you that, you know, a high fashion brand for a bit older, more mature crowd can also build a presence in a virtual space like Roblox, and they're getting amazing results as well. Hair try-ons, Johnny Walker, Pizza Hut, McDonald's. You know, there's tons of brands, tons of industries that can use augmented reality. Apologies for skipping it over so quickly, but the time is apparently up. Again, we have I invite you to go upstairs to try our augmented reality mirror upstairs. It's a really fun experience. If there is time for questions, I'll take some. If there's no time, okay, I believe there is time for questions. So thank you very much for your attention. Apologies for a bit hectic presentation.
All right, everybody, who has some questions? Okay.
Hi, my name is Daria. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was lovely. I have a question. Why do you think in the sport and fitness experience it didn't go like so quickly, the boom of augmented reality? Because remember the first Miro, I think it was one of the USA producer who produced it and who was supposed to replace like the fitness instructor. It was such a great idea, but it's still not in each of our homes.
That's a great question. I think with every new technology, before it can be widely adopted, it needs to meet particular criteria. You know, it's simple criteria sometimes. If we won't use headsets, mixed reality headsets on our heads, unless they're cool, lightweight, and their battery power is strong enough. Because people aren't gonna find it useful. It's gonna be something terrible, not that you won't enjoy using. So I think with the adoption of technology, a lot of criteria have to be met for people to adopt it. Simple as that. I think when Apple first introduced a phone without a keyboard, people were hesitant about it, but it proved really quickly that it's a useful thing and it works really nice, and it doesn't mess up your emails and your texts. So technology needs to prove that it's useful for people to adopt it. It cannot be just a far-fetched concept, because it sounds great. We'll have your virtual trainer assistant instead of a personal trainer. Make it actually useful and meaningful and easy to use for everyone, and there cannot be any technological barriers. It cannot be too expensive, and only then people will adopt it.
Thank you for your response. And just a quick second question. Have you ever studied the cons of augmented reality, especially for the kids and for the brains, and how it influences their life?
No, I'm afraid not. We haven't yet.
Anybody else? All right.
Hi, my name is Yash. Just wanted to ask that for an everyday marketer who is in the industry and been marketing for other companies, and if we have customers, so they've got multiple tools out there, thanks to the artificial intelligence. So for the AR, such lenses or maybe such products that we have, do we have any tool that we can use without the knowledge, without the knowledge of coding? Like, I mean, you know coding, right? So if we do not want to use coding, like directly be able to generate or maybe use something basic, do we have any tools out there like that?
Thank you, Yash, for the question. If I understand the question correctly, my answer is going to be there's so much different frameworks and technologies to work with that, like I said, any brand can work with augmented reality. If you don't have a Instagram profile, obviously you're not going to build an Instagram AR effect, but you can make it a web browser experience. So all a consumer needs is a web browser. So there's tons of technologies that we can use, and I think we can cater for every need. Not just us. I'm not saying me as a company, but like-minded professionals that do the same thing. So many technologies is out there, and you just have to put it to a right use.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everyone, please join me in giving a massive round of applause for Mr. John Ożarowski. How phenomenal was that presentation?